ladies and gentlemen, you Beatles fans probably thought you were rid of me, after I finished their entire discography, put out my final video reacting to them, Magical Mystery Tour. You thought I was done, but no. Chivo has decided, now that he has edited all of the Beatles albums that I didn't edit myself, he is going to be editing the solo albums too. So yeah, shout out to him as always with the videos that I don't end up editing. This reaction was taken, like all of the most recent Beatles videos, from a viewer music submission live stream from a couple months back. We do these streams every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 3 PM UK time, so make sure you stop in, say hi, and send me some music if that sounds like something you're interested in. Also, like and subscribe and all that stuff if you haven't yet, because we are on our way to 2K and we're getting pretty damn close. Yeah, besides that, enjoy the video. Just see... Oh, this is Paul and Linda McCartney. This thing has absolutely great reception. 80 critic, 87 user. Nice. Alright, let's just go. Paul and Linda McCartney. Ram.
Your first mistake. You took your lucky break and broke it in two. Now what can
The first indie pop album, yeah.
for you? You broke it in two.
Production is so good. Like, the production is just as good as with, like, the Beatles. Oh, this is self-produced as well. I don't hate this fade out. It actually kind of makes sense. Oh, and it's a transition as well, so it makes even more sense. Nice. Great first song. I was a little worried going into this that it was gonna try a little too hard to try and be Paul McCartney. I've just gone, like, the worst way of, like, putting that sentence across. I was worried this album was going to be Paul McCartney trying too hard to redo the Beatles, like, right after the Beatles had ended. But no, this is actually surprisingly not that at all with this first song. It's actually something very different. The production, firstly, is surprisingly really great on that first song, considering it's self-produced, it's from the 70s. It's, like, arguably on the same level as the Beatles in terms of production. Writing is absolutely fantastic. The guitar solo in there was so fun as, like... I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed that first song. I give that a 8.9. Very strong first track. Next up, Three Legs.
Well, when I walk, on my horse upon the hill. When I walk, will my love me still?
Okay, this sounds very Beatles.
A dog is here. Dog is there. My dog, he got 3 legs, but he can't run. When I thought you was my friend. When I thought that I could call you my friend. Put my heart around the bend.
What's this album listed as? Give me a sec. This album is listed as pop rock, folk pop, psychedelic pop, art pop, progressive pop, blues rock, and baroque pop. Huh. So we're gonna be getting like a lot of different styles on this album. Okay. I'm actually kind of okay with that. Co-written drugs, yeah.
Most flies, they got 3 legs, but mine got 1. A dog is here. Dog is here. Dog is there.
Huh.
My dog, he got.
A little bit of this does feel like weird for the sake of being weird, but I kind of don't mind it here because this definitely does feel like Paul McCartney post Beatles, just like experimenting, trying to find what works for him on his own. And there is a certain charm that comes with that that is actually very engaging on this.
But he can't run. My dog, he got 3 legs. Your dog, he got none. My dog, he got 3 legs. Your dog, he got none.
I think this is the other Beatles in the song behind it with weird lyrics. For as just like weird for the sake of being weird as that song is, I actually found it very surprisingly charming and enjoyable. I don't think I like it quite as much as the Beatles, a lot of the Beatles stuff. I don't think it's quite on the same level as some of the Beatles' best stuff, but it still is very fun. It's Paul McCartney trying to separate himself from that and go down his own path, which, again, you can tell, even from just these first 2 songs, that that's what he's trying to do. And it's honestly working surprisingly very well. I don't like that one quite as much as the first song, but I still do like it a decent bit. I'll give it an 8.3. Ram On up next. Did I put the right source? I did.
Ram on. Give your heart to somebody soon, right away. Right away. Ram on. Give your heart to somebody soon, right away.
Would I say the production of Abbey Road is better than this? Yes. I mean, like, Abbey Road, in terms of, like, what it was at the time, it's, like, one of the best produced albums ever. He used a pseudonym during, with the Beatles when he was younger, Paul Raymond, during 1960. Oh, Paul Ramon. Oh, yeah, Raymond or... Okay, that's why I guess that's called Ramon then. Okay. It's him telling himself not to dwell on the past, moving on, not holding back anymore. Okay, so my theory is correct that this album is him trying to separate himself from the Beatles. As my least favorite so far. I still thought it was okay, but not really one I would return to. It's a 7.5 for me. Sounded okay, sounded sweet. There was some interesting lines in there that I picked up on. I feel like the general sound of that song so far is the least appealing to me, and I feel like that song maybe could have been a little bit longer, because it does feel a little too short for what it is. But still, it's a good song regardless, just my least favorite up to this point. Next up, Dear Boy.
Guess you never knew, dear boy, what you had found. I guess you never knew what you had found, dear boy. I guess you never saw, dear boy, that love was there. And maybe when you looked too hard, dear boy, you never knew where. I guess you never knew my heart was down and out.
Jonathan thinks the song was about him, but I've always said it was about Linda's ex. Okay, cool. That's actually possibly even my favorite so far. Yeah, I definitely agree that this does seem to be more about Linda McCartney's ex than it does about John Lennon. I mean, with the talking about you never know how much you missed, talking about falling in love as well. When I stepped in, my heart was down and out, but her love came through. Like, this is obviously probably about Linda McCartney way more than it is about John Lennon. He killed himself in the 2000s, damn. Now, I think that might have been my favorite so far, in terms of writing, in terms of the sound of that track as well. It was probably the most serious of the songs up to this point, as it does seem to be a little spiteful, a little bitter towards this guy, but also has some of that, like, hey, you know, when I stepped in, you know, I was feeling depressed, but her love came through. You're never gonna get to have that. Still has some of the silliness and the cheekiness as well as being a little spiteful, which makes for a very interesting tone for that song, which honestly brings it up a lot for me. Give that one a 9. Right, I have heard this one before, but I've heard it from a different version of the album, so I don't know if this one's going to be any different. Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey.
We're so sorry, Uncle Albert. We're so sorry if we caused you any pain. We're so sorry, Uncle Albert. But there's no one left at home, and I believe I'm gonna rain.
John Lennon once said he only liked one song on the entire album, and if you remember correctly, Ringo and George didn't like it, and it did pretty bad commercially. I mean,
Sorry, but we haven't heard a thing.
I do understand why the band wouldn't like it. There definitely does seem to be a little bit of, like, not necessarily hatred, but there's definitely some, like, tension between Paul and the rest of the band on this track that you can feel, particularly I think in the first 2 songs possibly that, like, I've picked up on. Critics at the time destroyed the album because they said it was too shallow. It's like the complete opposite. Like, the critics give the Beatles too much praise, and then they don't give this enough praise. I'm really liking this so far. They praise Lennon for Imagine.
Uncle Albert,
They were spiteful of Paul because they thought he broke up the band at the time. Good to see now the tables have turned. Oh yeah, this is the song where he makes that goofy ass noise. I forgot about this bit. Paul was the first one to go public with leaving the band, which is why many people thought that. Better than people thought Yoko breaking up the Beatles.
Admiral Halsey notified me he had to have a berth or he couldn't get to sea. I had another look and I had a cup of tea and a butter pie. Butter pie? The butter wouldn't melt, so put it in the pie. All right.
I've forgotten about most of this song, I can't lie. Oh, great transition. That is my favorite up to this point. I love that. Yeah, second time hearing that song, I feel like I might even enjoy it more than the first time. I give it like a 9.3. I don't know what score I gave it originally, but yeah, that song is great. Switch ups are absolutely fantastic. The transition between the two different sections of the songs works so well. I actually think that having the two songs squished into one makes a lot of sense too. The chorus with the hands across the water thing, super catchy as well. And that song kind of seems to be following with some of the lyrical themes of wanting to separate himself from the Beatles. He's talking about picking himself up and going off and doing his own thing, traveling the world and stuff. Just another really interesting angle to look at this topic from. Yeah, that's my favorite so far. Next track, Smile Away.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I honestly don't know how I feel about that song. That had some of my favorite elements up to this point, as well as some of my least favorite. That very, like, farty bass. I don't even know what that was. Like, the very farty bass line over this was kind of annoying to me. I feel like there was some instrumental moments that didn't click that well, but the instrumental moments that did click were absolutely incredible. The vocals on this one are the strongest they've been on the whole album up to this point. And it has some of the catchiest moments on up to this point as well. For now, I'm going to give it a flat 8. But mostly as a way of me saying I want to listen to this song again at some point to get a more fully formed opinion on it, if that makes sense. It had enough elements that I really, really loved for me to say that I would come back to this. So I'm giving it an 8 for now. Heart of the Country.
I look high, I look low, I'm looking everywhere I go, looking for a home in the heart of the country. Heart of the country where the holy people grow. Heart of the country, smell the grass in the meadow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whenever now, maybe on my. Whenever now, maybe on my. Want a horse, I want a sheep, I wanna give me a good night's sleep. Whoa, whoa, want a horse, I got a sheep, I'm gonna give me a good night's sleep.
Yeah, this album seems to be confirming what I said earlier. Like, the previous song was, like, super energetic track. And then this one's more low-key. Like, as a much more, like... I'm gonna wait for the song to end and I'll get my thoughts. Yeah, the album seems to be confirming what I said earlier. This is like Paul McCartney experimenting with a bunch of different sounds, basically trying to find what works for him. Like doing a bunch of things that basically just don't tie him to being the guy from the Beatles. He's trying to like invent his own thing here, try and carve his own path, which I think like the best example of it is the difference between these two tracks, that being so wildly different from each other but being placed right next to each other. This isn't like the most cohesive listen of an album, but the songs themselves are so enjoyable, and I don't think that a cohesive front to back flow is really what he was going for here. And honestly, all of the experiments so far have worked for me. Like the lowest score I've given is a 7.5. The song worked for me as well. Give it an 8.3. Not my favorite on the album up to this point, but still had some really great ideas going on in there. One of the more subtle instrumentals so far as well, which I think is a plus. Yeah, adds some more nice variety to the album. Monkberry Moon Delight. Have I heard this one? I think I've heard this one.
So I sat in the attic, a pillow up my nose, and the wind played a dreadful cantata. So was I from the crack, super fury. Don't get left behind. When a rattle of rats had awoken, the sinews, the nerves, and the veins. My piano is boldly outspoken, and attempts to repeat its refrain.
This is one of the highest rated songs on this album. Look at this. Has a 92. There's the first track also has a 92. The highest rated is a 96, and then the final track has a 93. Really? I've heard this before, and I remember not liking it. And my opinion still stands. I'm really not crazy on this so far.
So I
This was him trying to write like John Lennon.
in my my stomach, and I gaze at that terrible sight. Do your stars concealed in a barrel? Well, I know my banana is older than the rest, and my hair is a tangle for rental. But I leave my pajamas. Catch up, catch kittens. Don't get left behind.
Yeah, Paul is dead. And the second time around, it's not much better. Yeah, second time hearing this song doesn't provide any drastic changes in my thoughts. I still see this as just awkward, like super awkward. The vocal performance is too much. The actual vocal melody is kind of annoying. The lyrics, this is just weird for the sake of being weird. I said that about one of the earlier songs that does feel a bit like that, but I don't mind. This is just straight up just, hey guys, look at how strange and odd the writing on this song is. Aren't I so weird? This song just does not click. I have no clue how this is one of the highest rated on the album. It's 5.5 minutes as well. Vocal performance is killer. It's a bit much for me. His backing vocals are a little annoying as well. You're Paul biased? And then it's got the world's longest fade out at the end as well. It wouldn't be quite as bad if the song wasn't 5.5 minutes. But it being 5.5 minutes makes it feel like pure torture. I actually hate this song. That annoyed me so very much. That like that song's like a 3, like a flat 3. I actually hated that. That was so annoying, and it was so long that it got to a point towards the end of the track where I was honestly ready to skip. Wow. Next track, Eat at Home. I just said I've enjoyed their experiment so far, yeah. I think he got the inspiration for the lyrics from his kids. This is the one song John Lennon said he liked. That is crazy. 13 million monthly listeners. Yeah, 4 or 5 seconds. I was shocked when I learned that Paul McCartney was on that song. It legit never... I didn't learn that until very recently. Is the most normal song yet? Yeah. This is the safest one so far, but I don't mind it. It was a fine, cute little fun song that I thought worked decently well. Did not blow my expectations out of the water or anything. Probably not a song I would even return to all that much, but still, I found it kind of fun. 7.2. Alright, cool. Long-haired lady. 6 minutes. This is my favorite so far. That was my favorite up to this point, honestly. 9.6. That was so fun. That was like a 6-minute track, doesn't overstay its welcome. The ending is very repetitive, but it doesn't get on my nerves in the slightest. The writing, the performances, the general structure of that song, I absolutely loved it. I had basically zero problems with that, and that is hands down my favorite of the album up to this point. Yeah, very good. 9.6. Ramon Reprise. Okay. Linda McCartney's vocals on that one as well were very good. They were probably the highlight of that song for me, honestly.
Speed along the highway, her daddy's son. Don't stay out too long. Ooh, we're just busy hiding, sitting in the back seat of my car. Looking for a ride in another town. What's all the riding I'm all about? Looking for a ride. The lazy lights are pretty. We may end up in Mexico City, but listen to
Very strong closer. That was a very strong closer, honestly. I like that a lot. One of the more immediate songs on the album had one of the better vocal performances as well. Some really strong writing. Maybe I feel like it could have been shortened a tiny bit, but honestly, I really like that. I'd give that one an 8.5. Let me add up my scores for this, and then I'll tell you what my overall score for this album is. Divide that by 12. Really? Huh. Feeling a high 7 on this album. Huh. I was not expecting that. Overall score without Monkberry, let's see. My score without Monkberry would be an 83, but Monkberry being included brings the score down to a 79. Brings it down from a low 8 to a high 7. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below and how does it compare to other Beatles solo albums for you. Shout out again, of course, to Chivo for editing this video. I really greatly appreciate it. Links in the description to my Discord, my album of the year, my other channels, and my Twitter. Check those out if you haven't. Make sure you like and sub if you haven't as well. We are on our way to 2K. And yeah, I'll see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.